Massive warm welcome back to the CIO Water Cooler. Today we're going to attempt to see beyond the hype of generative AI. And to do that, I've got a great guest who's going to be helping us do just that. So thank you for joining me on the CIO Water Cooler. Yemi, can you please tell everyone a little about who you are and what you do?
Excellent. Yes, lovely to be here, Neil. Thanks for the illustrious introduction. So my name's Yemi. I am one of Softwire's client portfolio directors. So Softwire is a digital transformation consultancy, and I've been with the company for a remarkably long time, sort of over a decade, in fact, now. And my background is actually on the business strategy side rather than purely technology. So kind of working with and consulting with everything from well-funded startups to sort of big established brands, and helping the sort of the C-suite and senior leadership of those companies navigate big sort of digital transformation initiatives.
Well, I'm really looking forward to exploring Gen AI with you today. I know it will make a lot of people cringe or gasp when I just say those words out loud, because there is no escape as it continues to fill up our news feeds right now. So many self-proclaimed experts that are offering those must-have ultimate cheat sheets that we've all seen. I'm curious, from a business standpoint, what are you seeing out there at the moment? Is it a mix of wonder, disillusionment, overwhelm? What are you seeing?
I think there is a lot of emotions that I see out there. I mean, obviously, my role is as I described, talking to these technology leaders that are looking for help, from an organization like ourselves, to understand the technology landscape, what's the state of the art, and how they develop strategies to use that technology to align with their objectives. I think on the one hand, there is a lot of people with some kind of skepticism, shall we say, right? You're reading all these articles saying that Gen AI is going to absolutely revolutionize the world. And don't get me wrong, there is going to be some revolution of sorts, but I almost think it's kind of an evolution then that leads to revolution is what we'll see. So I think skepticism is one. I think on the other hand, you also then have, for the people that are actually making that step to dive into that world, you've got, in some cases, a sense of disappointment. And that disappointment is because, like we're kind of alluding here, you've got this hype cycle, right? That's kind of peaking when you look at the countless articles and headlines on there. When you look at I mean, in all honesty, the crazy amounts of VC funding flooding into startups, right? And what I see sometimes in some of these conversations is people start to have a bit of a play around. And because of that mismatch, that misalignment in expectation, there's this huge disappointment, right? And that disappointment fundamentally, I think, is because people are looking at generative AI as this kind of magic silver bullet that's going to solve all of their problems. Now, don't get me wrong, it can solve a lot of problems. But I think some of what I'm finding in these conversations is that what people are really crying out for is someone to help navigate that noise, right? To cut through that noise and to understand how can they rein that ambition into something sensible that's going to deliver them the kinds of results that they can get excited from and that they can build on. Because as I said, it's kind of an evolution leading to revolution kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I see out there in the world at the moment.
And I'm also seeing a lot of businesses getting distracted by, and also very concerned and almost leaping in head first. And hey, what's our AI story? How can we be a part of this? We're going to look irrelevant and do AI for the sake of AI. So how can businesses better get back to solving real problems by leveraging this technology, do you think?
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think there's two ways to answer this question. So the first, again, one of the things that I've noticed in some of these conversations is even just the way by which you start to think about how you're going to measure what this is going to do. And you see a lot of people out there, doing, so if we think about a matrix, right, by which you can measure certain initiatives and concepts and whatnot, you see a lot of people, whether explicitly or implicitly, using a kind of impact versus effort matrix, right? We want the impact, and what's the effort of making that impact? But if you're diving straight in at that level, you haven't even, you kind of skipped past the real thing that you should be thinking about, which is, well, number one, the value side of things, right? something can have some impact, but I think impact and value are slightly nuanced, sort of different things. So I think value is one measure, right, within which people should be looking at, and I think the other is feasibility, because obviously, and I know I said skepticism, and I can't remember the other thing I said earlier, but another thing that I think I see a lot out there is people scared, really, right? Because they're working in industries and in businesses where there are huge concerns around ethics, around data, around security, around privacy. And so there's a feasibility then question there of like, okay, well, here is a concept, seems okay in practice, but how do those concerns feed into that? And is it feasible actually in the line of work that we do in the customer personas that we're dealing with, or the way that we operate as a business? Is it feasible for us to implement generative AI in this way? So I think that's one thing to consider there. But I think the other thing is just about, the framework within which you try to understand where you can apply generative AI. I think there are ways in which you can sit down and assess your business, assess your operations, assess your workflows, assess your products and service offerings that will garner much more meaningful results in that journey to adopting generative AI, than just following blindly with the orders that you've got from your CEO of generative AI needs to be on the agenda, and so we're going to do something about it. And so one of the things that we've been doing here at Softwire is trying to distill some of that knowledge and some of that learning that we've had from our experience into a really simple framework that can allow you to identify use cases, but use cases that are more likely to be impactful and meaningful and valuable to your business, than just doing Gen AI for Gen AI's sake. And it's a really simple rubric. And I think, using frameworks like this, it can help people kickstart that journey a lot quicker and a lot more successfully, than some of the sort of troughs of disappointment that I at least see in some of the clients that we speak to.
100% with you on that. Now, of course, the bit that many businesses will need help with is the how. They know they need to do something, but taking action and moving forward, that's the bit that so many struggle with. And I don't want you to reveal too many spoilers, but can you offer any teasers about how you're helping people do this in your talk at the CIO event in June?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, I think that one of my main goals outside of this framework that I've alluded to in terms of identifying use cases, is this strategy that we employ ourselves and that we've given to our clients, for how to go through that process of, from ground zero, we think we need to do something, to actually the process of you have something that you started small and you're starting to iterate on. It's what we call the golden circle, of adoption. And essentially sort of takes you through the sort of the thinking process that will allow you to, I guess, have confidence that that journey that you're undertaking, is one that is founded in sort of a business-driven mindset rather than a hype-driven mindset, shall we say.
Well, a huge thank you for sharing everything with me today. I hope people will come and check you out in June. But more than anything, just thank you for sharing pure gold advice with me today. Thanks, Yemi.
Thank you.
And for everyone watching, I look forward to meeting you at the IT Leadership Challenge event in London. It is on June the 6th. You'll find more details on the CIO Watercooler website and the link in the description below of this video. Hopefully see you all then.